I never imagined I'd stand frozen at my own bedroom door. Not due to the loss of my keys. Not because I had lost track of anything. But fear gripped me, holding me back from the unknown lurking beyond. That night I was paralyzed. My hand hovered over the doorknob. My heart raced, its thunderous beat reverberating through the hallway. What of the silence that envelopes me? It was suffocating. A silence that crushes your ears, amplifying thoughts until they scream. Little did I know my world was on the brink of transformation. Without a sound. Not a second to brace oneself. A fleeting moment. A fleeting moment of forbidden revelation. It began with a single moment. A glimpse of Adam's actions that changed everything. Adam, my heart's echo. Hold on before your thoughts spiral, there's something crucial you must grasp. This story is anything but simple. It's heavy and profound. It's far from cute. It's anything but simple. It's a tale that twists your insides tight. The kind that jolts you awake at 3 a.m., leaving you in the dark, questioning how you ended up here. I'm no monster. This was never in my plans. This was never my choice. I was merely a woman lost in her solitude, had forgotten the warmth of being truly seen. And Adam, he noticed me. But I'm rushing ahead. Allow me to transport you to another time. Not at the precise moment, but to the events that brought me here. To that door. The pause that lingers. The decision looms large. Have you ever stepped into a house that seems flawless from the outside? Perfect lawn, spotless driveway, vibrant flowers on the porch? Yet beneath the surface, it's merely a gathering of facades? It was everything to me. A husband consumed by his work. Someone spoke to me as if we were equals. No one had ever laid a hand on me. Deeply moved. Nearly 2 years. I once tallied the moments he glanced my way each week. In the end I lost track. Then Adam arrived. 19, courteous, considerate, yet silent. He arrived, escaping turmoil with his mother. I stayed silent. It wasn't my role to inquire. Yet in his eyes there was a haunting depth at times. As if he bore a weight of his own. Isn't it strange how the broken can always find one another? I remained far away. I had no choice. I was his stepmother. A role that twisted my heart in ways I never expected. I cooked with passion. Purified. Inquired about his courses. I remained focused. That night changed everything. That fleeting instant. I stumbled upon a truth that shattered everything. Seeing Adam in that vulnerable moment left me breathless. What could possibly make it worse? What truly deepened the wound? Did that include me? I wish I could claim I walked away and let it fade. I wish I could claim I faced him down. So much left unsaid. Yet the reality? The reality is far more chaotic. And if you've ever felt the weight of solitude, completely isolated, surrounded by a crowd, when you glance in the mirror and the reflection feels like a stranger, if you've ever yearned for a fleeting connection so intensely it sent shivers down your spine, perhaps, just perhaps, you'll grasp how everything spiraled into what it became. Before I continue, if you've ever borne a secret that weighed on your heart relentlessly, have you ever felt the urge to shout the truth, yet feared the judgment that would follow? Smash that like button now. Welcome to Shocking Infidelity Saga, where real stories will shatter your beliefs about love, loyalty, and the depths of the human heart. Join us and dive into our raw, heartfelt community. No judgment lives here. Let me pull you into that night. Into the hallway. Into the void. Before the door, uncertainty gripped me, a battle of desire and fear. Yet they did. I once thought being a stepmom would bring comfort. Like a whisper of tenderness. A tender embrace. Nurturing another's journey. Providing direction. A refuge in the storm. Yet it became just another item to check off. Grab the essentials. Wash the clothes. Reach out to Adam. Smile at the dinner table where silence hangs heavy, yet hope flickers in the air. I'm 38 years old. 7 years of marriage. I once believed I was fortunate. My husband is a triumph. He delivers. We built a life with a beautiful home, 2 cars, security, and dreams for the future. But he hasn't looked at me in ages. It didn't feel personal at all. He seems to have lost the way. Lost the way to make me feel significant. How to engage with me without glancing at his phone mid-conversation. How to sit beside me and ignite a connection that transcends mere coworkers sharing a break room. He's rarely home. Journeys for work. gatherings, meetings that stretch into the night. Occasionally a message arrives, a pulse of connection in the silence. Times he simply doesn't. Yet, the deepest pain was the haunting silence that enveloped the house. Not from tranquility but from separation. The silence thickened as Adam stepped inside. Adam is just 19. Victor's firstborn son. He was never meant to be here. He lived by his own beat, tangled in a complex bond with his mother. Yet an unspoken bond formed, a truth too heavy for words. Suddenly he was there, unloading boxes, transforming the guest room into something new. At first I was lost in a whirlwind of emotions. He's not my son, yet the weight of that truth crushes me. Yet, a weight of responsibility clung to me. I began crafting more dinners. Notes cling to the fridge, whispers of love and longing. Inquiring about his classes, met only with a shrug or a quiet "it's fine." He was silent, courteous, and reverent. Yet a profound sadness lingered within him. He bore a burden far too heavy for his years. Sometimes I'd feel his gaze on me, strange yet not unwelcome. It felt as if he glimpsed the truth behind my facade. Perhaps that was the deepest fear within me. Victor had vanished from my sight. I was more than the facade, hidden beneath the makeup and rehearsed grins. Not the woman who wept in the shower, tears flowing to free the weight of the unexplainable. Adam remained silent. Yet his silence carried a weight unlike Victor's. Kept me in. It beckoned me closer. The house only deepened the despair. Vast, pristine, and chilling. Everything is perfectly in order. Not just a photo frame but a story turned askew. It should have been a refuge, a haven of comfort. Yet it resembled a museum. We were merely actors perfecting our facades, terrified to confront the raw truth. We gathered at the dining table, 3 chairs occupied. Yet the silence echoed, leaving the room hollow. Victor scrolled through his emails, each bite heavy with unspoken tension. Adam's gaze remained fixed on his plate. What about me? I would smile. I'd engage in fleeting conversation. I'd inquire about how each person's day unfolded. Afterward I would wash the dishes, the silence heavy around me. Just like before. At times I lingered at the kitchen sink, sponge in hand, lost in thought, gazing out the window long after the dishes were done. Lost in a void, thoughts flicker like shadows. Embracing the silence, I let it consume me whole. I can't pinpoint when everything began to change. When Adam's presence shifted from an intrusion to a reflection. Perhaps it was the way he expressed gratitude after dinner, a rare gesture when silence filled the room. Or how he'd see the slightest change, like a new necklace or a different part in my hair. Or perhaps it was simply that he noticed me. Not how a man gazes at a woman. Not now. Yet the way someone gazes at another, truly perceiving their hidden fractures. It was never love. It was something deeper. It was acknowledgement. And that sort of thing. The weight of that gaze. It creeps in quietly. It leaves you questioning everything you've overlooked. And what lengths you might go to experience that once more. That night, I returned home sooner than I had planned. It happened unexpectedly. My meeting fell through and Victor was gone once more. I pulled into the driveway, the darkness enveloping everything, save for the soft orange glow seeping from Adam's window upstairs. The house stood silent, as if waiting for something to break the tension. I eased the front door open, silent, as if to avoid disturbing the very air within. Perhaps I simply couldn't bear to reveal my return. I'm lost. The floors groaned beneath my heels. A creak that pierces the silence, echoing the weight of forbidden presence. The living room remained eerily still. The sink is empty. The TV is silent. That soft hum of silence, the kind that seems to watch your every move. I climbed the stairs, wondering if Adam was lost in homework or asleep, the light still burning. As I stepped onto the landing, a sound pierced the silence. Silence. Silence reigns. Something more. Gentle. Pulse. Whispered. My heart raced. I convinced myself to respect his boundaries. I urged myself to move forward step by step. Yet something compelled me to pause. The door stood ajar. Just a whisper. A sliver of warm light spilled into the hallway. I caught whispers meant to stay hidden. And just enough for me to witness. I swear I wasn't eavesdropping. I never sought it out. My eyes seized it before my mind could comprehend. He lay on the bed, back arched, hands slipping beneath the blanket. The laptop screen cast a chilling light on his face. In that instant, breath escaped me. It wasn't about his actions. He was captivated by the unfolding scene. I was the one. Just me. It registered in an instant, though it was ancient. A video I almost lost to memory. Victor and I, echoes of the past. A fleeting moment captured. A whisper of passion from a time long gone. I had completely forgotten where it was hidden. I believed it had vanished forever. Yet it stood before me. Adam watched, heart racing. Eyes on me. Silence enveloped me. Frozen in place. Stilled. A part of me held to rush in, to seize the laptop, to shout out loud. A shadow within me remained frozen. A secret I can't bear to face. I retreated, breath hitching, hands trembling. The hallway closed in, suffocating as the air grew heavy. I entered my room and closed the door. A phantom retreating into solitude. And then everything changed. I stood frozen, gazing into the void. Mouth parched. Pulse pounding. I felt everything. Revolted. Shattered. Lost in a whirlwind of thoughts. Yet there's more. A name I feared to utter. It wasn't just that Adam was watching me. It was something far deeper. It was the feeling that cut the deepest. Unyielding. Not disgusted. Yet. Witnessed. Desperate need. I loathed myself for it. I perched on my bed's edge, trembling, desperately seeking clarity. What was the point of that video? How did he discover it? Did he realize I was watching? Did he want me to know? I convinced myself it was just a mistake. He found it by chance. It was all meaningless. Yet, in the depths of my soul, I understood the truth. His gaze held a weight that left me breathless. Gentle. Intrigued. I felt like I was more than just his stepmother. I cocooned myself in a robe, lying atop the covers, the night heavy with unspoken thoughts. Eyes wide, heart racing. Gazing at the ceiling, lost in thought. Hauntingly replaying the image. Each iteration cuts deeper. More than mere sight. Yet, the depth of my feelings. Something had changed. Despite my efforts to convince myself it was merely a fleeting moment, deep down, I sensed it marked the start of something profound. The following morning, I wore a mask of normalcy. A smile broke through. Steam rises from the cup. Adam, want toast? He agreed, just as he always had. Respectful. Serenity. As if nothing had changed. Yet everything felt wrong. Never again. I faced him at the kitchen table, steam swirling from my cup, my stomach twisting tighter with each passing moment. He held my gaze, unwavering. Yet he never pursued them. Silence enveloped me as I ate, each bite heavy with unspoken thoughts. Perhaps that was the very thing that deepened the pain. The uncertainty. Did he realize I was watching? Did shame consume him? Did he want me to know? Was it truly just a mistake? A cruel twist of fate? All day I fought to erase it from my mind. I scrubbed away at the unnecessary. Bookshelves transformed the pantry. Yet each time I shut my eyes, it haunted me. That haunting image. That instant. Him. Eyes on me. I convinced myself it was merely curiosity. Perhaps the video had stumbled into his life by chance. Perhaps he clicked, unaware of the consequences. As I lingered, clarity pierced through the haze. It was something else entirely. It was fate. It was intentional. What terrified me even more than that realization was the depth of my feelings. Amidst the chaos, the uncertainty, the guilt, a haunting exhilaration pulsed beneath it all. I loathed it. I loathed myself for it. Yet it existed. A sick flutter in my chest, as if something had come to life. I began to see what had always been hidden. Or perhaps truths I had been avoiding. Text Adam's gaze pierced through me as I crouched to reach for something in the low cabinet. He stayed in the kitchen, eyes fixed on me as I cleaned, the silence heavy with unspoken words. His eyes shifted, not with rudeness or aggression but with purpose. It felt as if he truly saw me, piercing through the years of neglect. Once it was revealed, it was forever etched in my mind. It felt like an eternity since someone had gazed at me with such intensity. Victor once did. In the moment we exchanged vows. In our fresh beginnings. He'd sneak up behind me as I cooked, arms wrapping around me, his kiss lingering on the back of my neck. He vanished in the shadows of time, lost between year 3 and year 4. His touch was fleeting, a whisper against my skin. A gentle touch, a world of meaning. A sudden touch on the arm. Cold and unfeeling. Empty. A touch that whispers I shouldn't, but here I am. Yet Adam's glances held depth. In that moment his presence consumed me. His presence electrified the air. A silent signal that sent shivers down my spine before I even glanced back. His footsteps dragged, heavy with unspoken words. Gentler. His voice lowered slightly, as if he were confiding in me alone. Not merely beside me. What about me? I began to transform as well. Initially it was just a whisper. Innocent, I whispered to my heart. I loosened my robe each morning. A subtle invitation to the day ahead. I slipped on a tank top, leaving behind the oversized t-shirt, as I prepared breakfast. I did it for me. I repeated that to myself over and over. Yet deep down I understood the truth. I found myself in a new outfit. Take your time. With greater caution. Fabrics that embraced every curve perfectly. I stood by the door, heart racing, hoping he would pass by. Hair cascades down. Skin glistening, still alive from the shower's embrace. I loathed myself for that. Yet I pressed on. When our eyes locked, those fleeting moments in the kitchen and down the hall, I held my gaze steady. I ought to have. Yet I didn't. Instead, it became an obsession. Yearning for that gaze. That raw power. The heat I had long forgotten surged back, igniting a fire within me. It was never about Adam. Not initially. It was all about me. About the rush of life surging through me once more. As if someone caught a glimpse of my soul. Every night as I lay down, guilt surged in, unstoppable, overwhelming. This was a mistake. Utterly devastating. He was the son of my husband, though we were never truly connected. Though our time together was brief, it felt profound. It was irrelevant. But the line between what's appropriate and what's forbidden had vanished entirely. It struck deep, transforming, fading into darkness. With each passing day, I sensed myself drawing nearer to it. A single glance speaks volumes. It began with the smallest details. From a distance they seem pure, untouched by the weight of reality. Yet, in proximity their innocence shattered. As I trudged home from the store, bags weighing me down, my arms screamed in protest. The door swung open as I fumbled with the keys, catching me off guard. Adam. Silence hung heavy in the air. He reached out, taking the heavy bags from my arms, our fingers barely touching. It was fleeting, yet it struck deep. A flicker, a whisper of uncertainty, a question lingering in silence, heavy with unspoken fear. He brought them into the kitchen, placing them down with trembling care, as if they were fragile treasures. He met my gaze, truly met it, and whispered, "You don't have to bear this weight alone." 6 words that echo with weight. That was everything. Yet they remained by my side. Because Victor had stopped saying things like that. Victor thought I would take care of it all. Gathering essentials, crafting meals, tidying up, planning ahead, sharing joy. Somehow Adam, just 19, saw deeper than the man I had been with for 7 long years. From that moment on, everything shifted between us. They plunged further. It began with fleeting conversations in the kitchen, music, school, books. Simple yet charged with unspoken tension. Then he began to ask me questions that cut deep. My story unfolds in fragments, each moment a heartbeat, each breath a whisper of who I am. My journey unfolds, reflecting on the person I was before I became his father's wife. When I spoke, he heard me. Not with that vacant, half-hearted look Victor shot me from behind the laptop screen. Adam absorbed every word, his entire being attuned. Inched closer, locked in a gaze. Reacted in ways that pierced through, making me feel truly seen. Anticipation ignited within me. For him. One night Victor was gone once more. In the dim light of the living room, I cradled a glass of wine. The whispers of an old movie wrapping around me like a forgotten memory. Adam entered, paused, then sank onto the far end of the couch. Silence stretched between us. Silence enveloped me as I watched. Suddenly everything shifted. The couple on screen shared a passionate kiss. Gradually, yearningly, my body tightened, a storm brewing within. I averted my gaze from him. I never had to. The air crackled with change. Moments later my hand grasped the remote. He arrived just then. Our fingers brushed. We froze. Perfectly timed to resonate deeply. He withdrew his hand. "Forgive me," he whispered. I shook my head, silence heavy with unspoken words. I just couldn't. Simply wasn't. Truly was. The touches intensified, each one lingering longer than the last. Enough. Intentional. A fleeting touch as he handed me the salt. His arm brushed against mine, the air thick with unspoken tension in the narrow hallway. A gentle touch at my back as he moved aside, granting me passage through the door. Little moments. Too simple to dismiss. But I fell silent. Somewhere inside I craved for them to keep going. I couldn't help but search for him. She lingered in the kitchen, heart racing, waiting for him to appear. Strolling through the garden at twilight, a thrill lingers, he could be right behind me. Leaving my bedroom door ajar, just a whisper. Then the notes began. A hidden surprise lay within the pages of a book on the couch. 5 words scrawled in chaos. "There's a depth within you, hidden from their gaze." I gazed at it, lost in thought. A few days later, it slipped beneath the sugar bowl on the kitchen counter. "You deserve to be truly experienced, not merely observed." And then another, "If I could turn back time, it would begin with you." Every note constricted my heart. Not with guilt but with pain. Longing for the unattainable. A desire I must resist. I tucked them away, buried under dusty scarves and neglected birthday cards. Yet, in the stillness of night, I'd uncover them, reading as if they were whispers of a love I never knew. As I tidied the living room, my hand brushed against Adam's sketchbook, sending it crashing to the floor. I never intended to see it. I reached for it, poised to return it to the shelf. Yet the page lay wide open. There I stood, sketched in graphite. Gentle, concise. Perched on my bed's edge, I run the brush through my hair, lost in thought. That moment flooded back to me. Only a week ago. He had been watching all along and I was oblivious. The sketch held me captive, my hand shook with uncontainable emotion. He had seized a moment so personal, so visceral. It was as if I was staring at a ghost of who I used to be. A haunting reminder of a lost self. Not the weary spouse. Far from unseen. Yet a longing burned within. Did I dream it? Or was he beckoning the unknown? I promised myself I would keep my distance. This was perilous. This was a mistake. I was dancing with flames in a tinderbox. Yet I pressed on. The door remained ajar. I kept the notes close. I left the sketch untouched. Pressed on. Each fleeting moment counts. And buried within, I felt the inevitable pull of fate. The night it unfolded, the sky seethed with fury. Thunder rumbled in the distance, a deep vibration that shook your very core. The rain pounded fiercely, clawing at the windows as if desperate to break through. Victor was gone once more. A conference awaits. Perhaps in a bright, warm place. I never asked for this. The house pulsed with an unsettling energy. Not merely silent but electric. Weighty, as if it were suspended in anticipation. At 9, darkness fell. In an instant, everything vanished into black. Silence envelopes the room. The hallway nightlight flickered out, leaving darkness in its wake. Only silence, pierced by the relentless drum of rain on the roof. Candles flickered to life, casting shadows that danced across the living room. The flickering light cast shadows that twisted and swayed. The tempest outside paled against the turmoil within me. Adam descended the stairs, heart racing. Bare skin, soft fabric clinging. Droplets glistening from the shower. He froze, candle flickering in his grasp. Eyes locked on mine. A fleeting smile barely there. "Are you all right?" he inquired. I nodded, fighting to prevent the house from becoming a dark abyss. He was there, just across the floor. The flickering candlelight casting shadows between us. We spoke. At first it seemed trivial. A storm stirring memories of childhood. He'd hide beneath blankets, imagining thunder as giants bowling in the sky. I laughed, not from humor, but from the warmth of his voice, a reminder of humanity. Then silence enveloped us, a profound stillness rich and heavy. His gaze pierced through me and I shattered. I whispered, my voice trembling, "Why that video?" He blinked, swallowed hard. His eyes revealed the truth before words could escape his lips. "It was the one moment I witnessed you truly loved." Those words shattered a barrier within me, unleashing emotions I'd kept locked away for years. I remained silent. I just couldn't. I gazed at him, the candlelight dancing between us, shrinking the room into a cocoon of closeness. He extended his hand cautiously, as if fearing my reaction. His fingers brushed against mine. I stayed close. His fingers brushed against mine, and in that moment, everything else vanished. Raging winds, heavy hearts, unspoken truths. It was only us, caught in the silence of unspoken words. My eyes ignited with pain. Tears threatened to spill. A storm brewing within. A tear fell silently. He brushed it away with a gentle stroke of his thumb. And then only silence remained. Silence, a heartbeat away. Hold on. He kissed me, gentle at first, hesitant as if seeking my consent. I surrendered it all. I kissed him back, and in that moment, everything fell apart. I can't recall ever being on my feet. Somehow we shifted from the living room to the couch, but the details are lost to me. Heat envelopes me, skin brushes against skin, breath mingles in the air. He cradled me, a delicate treasure, essential yet breakable. I released all that I believed defined my strength. Our bodies whispered secrets long forgotten, igniting a fire within me. In that instant, fear vanished. Without a second thought, simply let go. For him. For me. To the woman I once was and the one I never had the chance to be. Afterward, we lay there entwined in silence, the candle flickering dimly. I gazed at the ceiling, my body alive with energy, my heart shattered wide open. In that moment, clarity struck. In that instant, I felt the shift. Nothing would ever be the same again. There was no turning back now. It's permanent. It happened and there's no escaping it. No justification can mend the damage done. We crossed a line that shattered, leaving nothing but fragments behind. I had lost sight of myself. The next morning I avoided his gaze. I rose before dawn, cloaked in my robe, descending the stairs as if fleeing the shadows of the past. The candle flickered its last breath on the table. The couch cushions bore the weight of absence. The blanket lay discarded on the floor. The noise engulfed me, the room howling in chaos. My hands trembled as I brewed the coffee. Left untouched, I craved a purpose, a spark to ignite my restless spirit. His footsteps echoed on the stairs and I stood still, heart racing. He stood in the doorway, eyes gentle, lips slightly parted as if words were on the brink. I turned my gaze away. The hope in his eyes was unbearable. Hope ignited his belief that something could emerge from this. I couldn't allow him to think that. He lingered, caught in a fleeting heartbeat. Suspense hangs heavy. I faced away, feigning a scrub of the spotless counter. "Hey," he whispered, his voice laced with warmth. "Is it possible?" "I have so much to tackle today," I interrupted. My voice felt off. Clenched. Severed. He hesitated. I averted my gaze from him. I just couldn't. "All right," he finally replied. His voice heavy with unspoken thoughts. Silence hangs heavy. Wounded. He turned and left, silence swallowing the moment. I collapsed onto a stool, heart racing, stomach churning. What have I done? Every inch of me throbbed with pain. Not merely in body but in a profound, aching manner. It felt as if a part of me had shattered, and I was desperately trying to seal it with trembling fingers. I stayed away from him all day. If I heard him above, I remained below. I crept to the kitchen, pausing until silence enveloped me. I convinced myself it was for his sake, but deep down I knew I was just running away. From him everything changed. From within. From our actions. That evening Victor returned home. His suitcase hit the floor with a heavy thud. His voice ringing through the house, too bright, too cheerful. It sent shivers down my spine. His lips brushed against my cheek. I recoiled. He saw it all. His smile wavered, and I felt the weight of unspoken words. Silence hung heavy between them. Instead, he inquired about my dinner preparations. I pushed through, serving plates, masking the turmoil within. Yet it wasn't. Everything was lost. Adam descended last, dragging his feet, a weight in his heart. He averted his gaze. He sat across the table, his food untouched, silence heavy between us. I stared at my plate, unable to look away. Victor struggled to share the weight of his journey. Inquired of Adam about school. Cracked jokes that fell flat. No one laughed. After dinner, Adam vanished upstairs. Victor's eyes pierced through me, sharp and unyielding. "Is everything all right?" "Absolutely," I did. Overwhelmingly swift. Exhausted. He held back. He never did it. Yet I sensed it deeply. Unease prickled at his instincts. Insufficient to blame me, just enough to ignite curiosity. That night, as Victor's hand brushed against me in bed, I recoiled once more. I claimed I had a headache. He turned away, silence heavy between them, drifted into darkness. I lay in the dark, eyes fixed on the ceiling, feeling the tempest within me rise. The days that followed plunged deeper into despair. Adam hardly uttered a word to me. His eyes, once radiant, now bore the weight of confusion and a deeper wound, betrayal. I offered him a piece of my heart, then cruelly took it back. I allowed him to think there was an opening, then I closed it with a forceful finality. He felt nothing. He felt nothing. He was everything pain. It shattered me. I fought to forget it. Yet every room echoed our secrets. The couch, a silent witness to countless moments, both joyful and sorrowful, holding secrets within its fabric. The corridor. The staircase loomed ahead. In the bathroom, the mirror revealed a stranger staring back at me. I drifted through life, a mere echo of who I once was. The guilt weighed heavily, but the ache was relentless. The pain of a truth that never was, yet burned deep within. Silence engulfed me. I was utterly alone. Not my friends. He's not my husband. Not even I, truly. I wore the guilt, a scent clinging to me unseen by many, yet ever present. And Adam, he fell silent, receded, as if shielding himself from the impact of my decisions. Or perhaps he finally recognized the truth of who I truly am. A woman adrift in her hollow ache, yearning for warmth, even if it seared her soul. The next morning I avoided his gaze. I rose before dawn, cloaked in my robe, descending the stairs as if fleeing the shadows of the past. The candle flickered its last breath on the table. The couch cushions bore the weight of absence. The blanket lay discarded on the floor. The noise engulfed me, the room howling in chaos. My hands trembled as I brewed the coffee. Left untouched, I craved a purpose, a spark to ignite my restless spirit. His footsteps on the stairs sent a chill through me, and I stood still, heart racing. When he stood in the doorway, eyes gentle, lips slightly parted as if words hovered on the edge, I turned my gaze away. His hopeful gaze was unbearable. Hope ignited his belief that something could emerge from this. I couldn't allow him to think that. He lingered, caught in the weight of the moment. Anticipation hangs heavy. I faced away, feigning a scrub of the spotless counter. "Hey," he whispered softly. "Is it possible?" "I've got so much to tackle today," I interrupted. My voice felt off, clenched, snipped. He hesitated. I averted my gaze from him. I just couldn't. "All right," he finally replied, a pause hanging heavy in the air. Silence hangs heavy. Wounded. He turned and left, silence hanging heavy in the air. I collapsed onto a stool, heart racing, stomach churning. What have I done? Every inch of me throbbed with pain. Not merely in body but in a profound, aching manner. It felt as if a part of me had shattered, and I was desperately trying to seal it with trembling fingers. I couldn't bear to face him again. If I heard him above, I remained below. I crept to the kitchen, pausing until silence enveloped me. I convinced myself it was for his own good. I was concealed in shadows. From him. From within. From our actions. That evening Victor returned home. His suitcase hit the floor with a heavy thud. His voice reverberated, filling the empty house with haunting intensity. Unremarkable. Excessively bright. It sent chills down my spine. His lips brushed against my cheek. I recoiled. He saw it all. Text. His smile wavered, and I felt the weight of unspoken words. Silence hung heavy between them. Instead, he inquired about my dinner choice. I pushed through, serving plates, masking the turmoil inside. Yet it wasn't. Everything was lost. Adam descended last, dragging his feet, a heaviness in his heart. He avoided my gaze. He sat across the table, his food untouched, silence heavy between us. I stared at my plate, unable to look away. Victor struggled to share the weight of his journey. Inquired with Adam about school. Cracked jokes that fell flat. Silence hung heavy in the air. After dinner, Adam vanished upstairs. Victor's eyes pierced through me, sharp and unyielding. "Is everything all right?" "Yeah," I admitted. It was too quick. Exhausted. He held back. He never did it. Yet I sensed it deeply. Something felt wrong. Insufficient to blame me. just enough to ignite curiosity. That night, as Victor's hand brushed against me in bed, I recoiled once more. I claimed my head was pounding. He turned away, silence heavy between them, drifted into darkness. In the darkness I lay still, eyes fixed on the ceiling, feeling the tempest raging within. The days that followed plunged deeper into despair. Adam hardly uttered a word to me. His eyes, once bright with warmth, now weighed down by confusion and the sting of betrayal. I offered him a piece of my heart, then cruelly took it back. I allowed him to think there was an escape, then I closed it with a finality that echoed. He felt nothing. He felt nothing at all. He was deeply wounded. It shattered me. I fought to forget it. Yet every room echoed our secrets. The couch, a silent witness to countless moments, both joyous and heartbreaking. Dark and silent. The staircase loomed ahead, each step a whisper of fate. In the bathroom, the mirror revealed a stranger staring back at me. I drifted through life, a mere echo of who I once was. The guilt weighed heavily, a relentless burden, but the ache was equally unyielding. The pain of a truth that never was, yet burned deep inside. Silence engulfed me. I was utterly alone. They aren't my friends. He's not my husband. Not even I, truly. I wore the guilt, a scent clinging to me, unseen by many, yet ever present. And Adam, he fell silent, receded, as if shielding himself from the impact of my decisions. Or perhaps he finally recognized the truth of who I truly am. A woman adrift in her own void, yearning for warmth even if it's seared. This is a secret I've kept to myself. Not even my therapist can reach me now. It has dwelled within me for ages, pushing against my ribs like a secret desperate to escape. Tonight I had to set it free. Never for absolution. Beyond salvation. Yearning to be heard. Sometimes the burden we bear in solitude outweighs the sin itself. I'm done holding this in. Did I make a mistake with what unfolded? Was I merely human, yearning for recognition? To feel the connection? To finally experience a spark after endless numbness? I remain in the dark. Yet I am aware of this. Words fade when you're the one facing the silence of that hallway. Your fingers tremble on the doorknob. Your heart shatters within, revealing depths of pain you never knew existed. Have you ever crossed a line that changed everything? Share your thoughts below. Have you ever gazed into the mirror and questioned, who am I now? What would you have chosen if you were me? And if this tale stirred something deep within you, if it stopped you in your tracks, stirred your emotions, and unearthed a long-buried part of yourself, share it. Don't hold back. Show this video some love. Pass it on to someone who may be silently struggling. Subscribe to Shocking Infidelity Saga, where hidden truths emerge and secrets are laid bare. We all carry untold stories that haunt us. Perhaps in the telling the healing truly starts. But if you take away just one thing from tonight, let it be this. Loneliness gnaws at the soul, a perilous craving that consumes from within. Ignore it, pretend it's not there, and it will devour everything near you. Even if it's a taboo. Even if it was never meant to be touched. Even if it shatters you. Act now, don't linger in the shadows. Whisper your truth. Experience. Extend. Before the silence consumes you whole.